Okay. You can study military history. You can study tactics. They have different names for it. But take the invasion of Panama right after George Herbert Walker Bush got into office. And I'm not saying the Panamanian dictator was a good guy, but he wasn't paying his drug money into the CIA anymore. That's all come out in court. Now, for 6 months before they invaded, they dropped flashbangs, they shot blanks off, helicopters did landings, until when they finally hit, people just thought, oh, it's just more of the attack. That's a tactic where you build up the attack until finally the real attack comes and you don't stand up against it. There's different names for that. They're trying to take our credit card processors. They just took one. They just took down one of our shopping carts. They took us off Credio after taking us off AdRoll that advertises with Google, where we just sold water filters and air filters and supplements outside to fund this place. That was $4 million gross, like $2.5 million money. It takes a lot of money to run this. That was like all our extra money. I had to really work hard to get that back to even keep going. They just blew away Credio. It was at $3 million already this year. It was doing better than the last thing. Gone, blown away. They sought us out. They said, oh, our general counsel says we can't work with you for hate. As Joel Skousen just said, that's a Soviet globalist leftist think tank university term where they just say, oh, it's hate. We just say that's hate. They banned us off Vimeo for saying that an Islamic training camp got busted that reportedly, allegedly was planning mass shootings at schools. That was mainstream news. They said, you're gone for that. They arrest you in Europe if you talk about Islamic terror. So it's here, folks, and it's all being segued over, and now U.S. senators, Democrats, are saying, we're going to follow EU rules and Chinese systems, and the Chinese dictators in the Wall Street Journal praising America going after fake news. So we're here. So this is the big attack. InfoWars, we've confirmed, has been artificially hit. It is down right now, even though we had systems in front of it that couldn't even do it. It has to be internal. And this is what they said 4 months ago in Bloomberg, after I was already told this. People internally at YouTube put fake strikes on us and took us down. They reversed it. But they're so sick of rebellions inside Google and Apple. Google this year refused, their people walked off a U.S. engineering project refusing to work for the Pentagon. That's how activist they are. Google's taken Christmas off their calendars along with Apple. So you have to understand, they're not even so much Chinese operatives as they just hate the country. So we'll get Joel Skousen's take on that. But right now, InfoWars.com has been taken down. Oh, it's just a private company. They can take you down. No, this is just, so they are exponentially, I believe, beta testing ahead of a big event, civil unrest, assassination of Trump, who knows what the false flag is or group of false flags, attacks on the media, attacks on Apple, Google saying we sponsored it or something. I mean, I see that in the crystal ball, the kind of thing they would do politically. And then they don't want us there to counter it when they make that move. So they were hitting us thousands of articles a day until we were #1 on the app, #1 on everything. It panicked them. They kind of went quiet in the last few days. And then now, behind the scenes, they're going after stuff that's clearly towards us interference. So Joel, I got you on about China and, you know, about the midterms and what you think they may pull, but I'm just kind of on us right now because I never really make a big deal about it now. We're under attack, and I've almost gotten kind of calm to it now. Like, oh, somebody's following me again. Oh, the New York Times is following me. Oh, I'm being harassed. Oh, you know, they're threatening me again. And I'm kind of getting into this punch-drunk situation. I mean, I know you're a veteran who dealt with stuff a lot more stressful, you know, than what I'm dealing with, landing on aircraft carriers and rough seas. But isn't there almost a problem where it's not like you have courage? It's that you've been doing it so long, you're not even worried anymore, and you lose that frostiness. I mean, do you get what I'm trying to get at here?
Well, yes. The big danger, Alex, is that in the tension of the moment, you're under attack. There's no question about it on all sides. The best strategy that you can react to is to come through with more calmness than you've ever had before, so that when people come to you, when a lot of people coming to see what's this Alex Jones all about, you know, they show the Wild Man video clips on CNN, but when people come to your show, if you'll show increased calmness, they'll say, oh, okay, this is a false, attack. There's nothing about Alex Jones that I find objectionable. And I realize it's hard during the heat of the attack to be calm, but that's what I recommend in terms of a strategy. Could do more good than almost any other thing other than fighting back legally.
No, I totally agree. And the Lord works in mysterious ways, so my clowning, sometimes out of context, brought part of the audience and broke through, but I think it's time to fully be serious and not joke around anymore. I think that's good advice. Describe your calmness when the jet aircraft or the private plane you were flying failed and you survived that miracle crash landing.
Well, yeah, when my engine, didn't respond to the throttle, I'll tell you, the adrenaline starts going and you realize, all right, we got a problem because that back of that carrier deck is coming up in your face. I was really shocked, Alex, because it wasn't so much the technique of what to do with the airplane. I could always pull the handle and eject at some point, but my major concern on the aircraft carrier was, where do I put this thing? There are people on the deck that are scrambling, and I'm going to, hit somebody. Now, when my personal airplane crashed, of course, I thought that I had made the landing. I was avoiding the populated area. I was heading for a field. There just happened to be a fence post there that caught my landing gear and made the aircraft tumble. And, it was a severe crash. It broke my 2,000-pound test seatbelt, and I didn't go anywhere. You think about that. How do you break your seatbelt and not go flying out? So I think there was a little bit of miraculous help there. But, you train so that you are calm, relatively calm in the situation. You know your procedures. You watch your airspeed. You make sure you don't stall and spin. That's how most people die in an airplane crash. They keep trying to extend the glide until they stall and spin and they fall out of the air and kill themselves. If you come in under control, still flying, unless you're heading for a pack of trees, you're going to generally survive. You may have some injuries, but you're going to survive.
Well, they said that was amazing that you lived through that, though. Like you said, that powerful seatbelt broke, but you had a little scratch on your head and, walked off from it.
Yeah, the whole airplane cracked open. I was sitting on the wing. I just stepped off onto the grass, and I was fine. It was truly miraculous.
And what did you just zen out at that moment? I mean, go back describing it. Just suddenly there was no power, and what happened?
Well, it turned out that the fuel line had become clogged. There was no way that I could get any power from the airplane, and I was only a quarter mile from the runway, and I realized I was not going to be able to glide to the runway, and so I had to turn onto the non-populated area to avoid crashing into buildings. This was very near a very populated area. So, well,
Nigel Farage, even the French police and others confirmed they were sabotaging his cars, cutting brake lines, unbolting the bolts on it. It happened at least 3 times. He didn't want to get into it, but I've talked to people that know him well, and they said that they think there was some sabotage with the aircraft that ended up later, from the injuries, killing the pilot. It took him a few years to die. Farage walked off, his face all smashed. But do you ever wonder if somebody put something in your fuel?
Well, we were able to pull the fuel filter apart afterwards and found fiberglass particles in it, which in an experimental aircraft, when they build a tank out of fiberglass, some of that fiberglass over time is going to slough off, and that did apparently. There's no way that would be an appropriate way to sabotage, because it's a natural occurring thing that actually pertained to the airplane. So I think it was a fault of whoever built the airplane.
I agree. So they should go to metal, aluminum gas tanks, right?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, there's something to be said for composite construction. You just have to flush the things out really good to make sure that all that excess fiberglass gets out before you start flying it.
What are you flying now?
Well, I'm flying a certified aircraft, a Mooney, turbocharged Mooney aircraft, and they're not without their problems too. But so you really have to be careful. I do a very thorough check of the airplane.
But that's my dad's favorite small plane. He's a pilot, is the Mooney.
Yeah, it's a very, very good cross-country airplane. But, getting back to the world situation, Alex,
we'll come back to the world situation. We'll do it right now. Do 5 minutes the next hour with Joel Skousen, worldaffairsbrief.com. Go there and subscribe to it. Send him an email. Send you a free copy. It's really powerful information. We'll look at the midterms, China, big issues. InfoWars is down. I mean, this is happening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's artificial. We've confirmed that. They are trying to shut us down ahead of something big. Newswars.com, prisonplanet.com. Spread those links. Don't let them win.